Hey everyone, Julian here, and I actually haven't made a video in a long time, so I thought I would give you guys some updates. I'm actually going to save most of my updates for the Transactive video, and that's one update in itself that we are back on Transactive. So if you didn't know I was on that, or you've forgotten the link, I'll put it in the description. And another thing I'm going to put in the description is my TED Talk video is finally online after a good 2 months of waiting. I did it in March and it's May, so yeah, 2 months. Um, I don't know if I ever announced on YouTube at least that I did a TED Talk, but on every other social media page you can think of, I announced that I did a TED Talk. So yeah, it's here. I'll put the link in the description. Make sure to check it out. I have yet to watch it, and I don't think I'm going to because watching yourself in videos is kind of not my thing. I don't need to see that. But yeah, another thing that I really want to talk about right now, and kind of almost ran about actually, is the fact that my school district is a rather conservative one, and recently there was someone on the school committee who is on the more conservative side, and he has definitely tried to take down LGBT rights and transgender rights for students. But in California here, we have a law called AB 1266, which gives transgender people the right to use the bathroom that they identify with. So, I won't give names, but it's probably easy enough to figure out through all my social media and just where I live who the person is. But they proposed a bill that basically is against the law. Not even basically, it is against the law. But he said that he wanted to make a provision of it, not change it, perfectly legal. And he said basically that transgender people would be allowed to use the bathroom that they identify with, but no one was allowed to be in the bathroom with them. Which, if you really think about it, not even really, if you just use common sense, you're going to realize that it's impossible, almost impossible for people to be alone in the bathroom. There's at least going to be one person in the bathroom. And what happens if someone walks in? Are you just going to have to run out as fast as you can? I mean, his law makes no sense whatsoever. And it was obviously it was an act out of ignorance and discrimination. And I don't know, I was just very upset when I heard the news, so I went to the school board meeting where he was going to try to get this bill passed. So I spoke there as to my mom and a friend of ours, and there's about 10 other people who wanted to speak, and all the rest of them were conservative. So I was actually really hurt and very disturbed and disheartened by what people had to say. I remember people were saying they would take their children out of school if they found out a transgender person was using the bathroom. And the main thing I noticed was a recurring theme when they talked was that they wanted privacy for their children. And what I want to make so clear is that, as most of you can probably realize, that transgender people deserve privacy too. And everyone's going to the bathroom for the same reason. We're going there to use the restroom. That's what the bathroom's for. And I talked a little bit about showers too, but in my school district, we don't use showers, so it's irrelevant. But of course, he still used that against transgender people. So he made it very clear that he just dislikes transgender people, but he still claimed that he wanted to protect them, and this would be protecting them. But in reality, it's not. It's putting them in danger, and it's missing class time. It's putting people at health risks because holding in pee and poop and all that fun stuff, it can cause dehydration and kidney problems and just not a lot of good things. So the bill was failed to pass. It was 3-2, which I'm very happy about. But it was almost scary because I thought that it wouldn't. At some point, I thought maybe it will pass. Maybe I know this is against the law. It's obvious, but he still wanted to propose this, and even just the fact that he wanted to propose this, and that so many people came there with such hate in their eyes, it felt like knives coming against me. And I remember at some point I was just so close to crying. I've never angry cried before, but I was about to angry cry because here I was. I felt attacked, and I felt my community was being attacked, and that people see transgender people as mutants and villains and not human. So it was just so disheartening to hear people say the things they had to say. And one thing that hurt me the most was when the school board member was speaking about the law, and he said something about gender identity and birth names. He's like, you can get in trouble for saying a transgender person's birth name. Yeah, birth name. And everyone just started laughing, and I'm like, oh, that's ridiculous. And people just don't understand how hard it is to be transgender. They don't get it because it's not a concern to them, and they think it's just so rare. He said that, only 2% of these students are transgender, and whether that's true or not, even a minority, you have to protect minorities. That's just what it comes to. He said that he was having privacy, but what about the transgender students? You can't just forget about them. I know some people said, if I find a transgender student at my school, I'm going to take my kid out of that school. And great, I don't want you there anyway. If they're so concerned, go to some conservative state where we don't have this law. You can't. It's a law, and that's what made me so mad. It's a law. You cannot make your own personal law in this tiny little school district of a state. At one point he said, this is the law of California, but the Fourth Amendment of the United States protects people's privacy. And everyone's like, yeah, that's right. That's right. And I was just like, are you fucking kidding me right now? Transgender people are in so much more danger than people realize. And they're coming here to use the bathroom. They're not here to go show off their dick or their vagina to people. It's just intersex people. You can't forget about intersex people. It's just... I've been ranting about this for 4 minutes now, but really, it was just very disgusting to me and very disheartening to have so many people against it. After I was out, people came up to me and shook my hand. People who were these are the people who said the terrible things, and they shook my hand like, you did a good job there. And while I appreciated them respecting me, I shook their hand. I said, thank you. I appreciate you guys putting your voices too, but I just couldn't respect them. Because I feel like there's a fine line between being conservative and having more conservative views and just being downright inhumane. And I want people to realize that you can have more conservative views, you can be a Republican, you can be conservative, but there's a line that is drawn where people just become inhumane, and I feel like that was happening. That is what was happening there. People were being inhumane and disrespectful and downright evil. I don't care what student they're trying to protect. You need to think about all the students as equal. This isn't the 1960s anymore. We cannot have a separate but equal bullshit system again. We are moving forward, and I do not want to move backward, and I do not like living in this ideal that I have a school board that is against me personally. I felt very attacked, and I could see the look in his eyes when I said I was transgender, that he was not happy. But I'm proud of myself, and I'm proud of the people who came here to support me and transgender students, because we did win. We were going to win whether he passed it or not, because he can't do that. But it's just hard to hear people say the words they can say. But I know I have this law to protect me, and that transgender people will always be stronger than ignorant people. So, with that being said, I want you to realize that you can use any bathroom you identify with. Even regardless of a law or not, you should be able to use the bathroom you feel comfortable using. And do not worry about what people's anger and ignorance has to say about you, because it's irrelevant, and you know yourself better than they do. And whether or not you can convince them that's true, it is true. And I want you to know you're not alone. And it's scary sometimes to hear people's hateful words, but you can't let them hurt you personally, and you can't let them stop you from moving forward. So I will leave my TEDx link in the description. I will leave Transactive in the link, and I will see you guys next week. No, I won't. I'm just used to saying that. I'll see you guys a different time. I don't know when, but I like to make videos, so hopefully soon. Bye!